Hey guys, Matt here. Welcome to Learn to Discern. So recently I was going through some of my old videos and I was trying to find the link to a video from Chuck Pierce that I had done an assessment on previously. However, when I clicked on the link to that video, I recognized that the video had been removed. And that got me thinking about what had taken place in that instance, potentially why it had taken place, but even more importantly, it got me thinking about how difficult it can be for people to confront the fact that they have potentially been wrong about a teacher for some period of time. And so today I want to talk about those matters, and specifically if you are somebody who's been in a theological movement where you've seen some red flags, but you've just been kind of pushing it down a little bit, this message is hopefully for you. But before we get to our assessment, if you guys want to help promote Christian content here on YouTube, please go ahead and take a second now to subscribe to my channel, and thank you in advance. Alright guys, so a little bit strange today because we're actually here on my own YouTube channel, but you can see the title of this video that I posted a while back was Chuck Pierce's Strange George Floyd Prophecy. And just so you can see, this video was originally posted by me in April of 2025. Now I'm going to put in this video a link to the original assessment that I was doing of this prophetic word from Chuck Pierce, and if you go and watch it, you will see that the original video was posted in 2020. It was right in the aftermath of George Floyd's death, and Chuck Pierce was prophesying that because George Floyd was being buried in Houston, that was somehow going to lead to a revival that would break out in Texas, and he said that it would be recognized by people all over. So basically the video is me pointing out, no, there was not some sort of massive revival that took place in Texas, and I mean, that's just one of the points. The whole video is just ludicrous. So I'm pointing out a number of errors with Chuck Pierce, his teaching, and this alleged prophecy, and just demonstrating very clearly that it was a false prophetic word. But here's what I want to point out. As I said, the original video that was posted about Chuck Pierce, and I'm saying it's posted about Chuck Pierce because I don't think Chuck Pierce himself posted the video. I don't even think it was his ministry. But the video was put up in 2020. So that means for approximately 5 years, this video survived. Anybody could have watched it. Well, April of 2025, I watched it and made a video about it. Now, what is strange is that although that video survived for approximately 5 years, when I called Chuck Pierce out for his false prophecy, let's take a look at what happened, because this is the description of my video. And always in my videos, I put a link, if I have it, to the original content that I'm assessing so that somebody else can check it out. They can look to make sure I'm doing things in context, all of that sorts of stuff. So let's click on the original video here and see what happens. Video unavailable. So the video was available for 5 years when nobody really knew about it, but as soon as it was pointed out that, hey guys, Matt Chuck here, Pierce had given some sort of false prophetic word, all of a sudden you can no longer find the video. Now, to be clear, again, I don't think it was Chuck Pierce himself who posted the video originally or took it down. I don't think it was anybody associated with his ministry, but that's kind of beside the point. I'm not even really trying to get into the intentions and the motivations of whoever it was that posted it and took it down. I wanted to use this as an opportunity to speak to people, because one thing that I have noticed is that when you are caught in a really bad movement, whether you're in an actual cult or you're just in an erroneous branch of professing Christianity, when you get attached to certain people or a certain movement, it can be incredibly difficult for you to detach yourself from it. And I thought this was just a prime example, because these are the sorts of things that happen all the time, and not just with the people themselves. So you might have a false prophet who stands up and gives a false prophecy, and of course they have great vested interest in making sure that that video is removed, so they may take it down themselves. But it's interesting to me that people who aren't even affiliated with the ministry would post the prophetic word and then take it down afterwards. Again, I'm not talking about the person who did this. I don't know what their intentions were. I don't know what their motivations were, but this sort of thing happens very regularly. And in my mind, it is because People are so deeply tied to certain movements or certain people that when evidence is very plainly or clearly presented to them to show them that you are wrong, this person that you were trusting in is false, is a false teacher, is a false prophet, or they gave a false prophetic word, that there's some sort of red flag waving. Often, rather than dealing with that issue and confronting it head on, people would rather just push it aside and keep moving. It is really hard, guys. It is really hard when we're entrenched in something to confront truth that may contradict what we have already believed. Now, why am I saying this? Am I saying this to shame people? No, I'm saying this because it's a part of my story as well. There was a period of time where I was listening to false teachers. Not exclusively, but I was definitely being influenced by many false teachers. And not only being influenced, I was going around and talking to people and saying, you need to check out this person. You need to listen to this person. Their ministry is so great. So I was actively promoting some of those false teachers. Of course, over the period of time, I started to be confronted with teachings and false prophecies that made me see, I think there's some issues here. But even so, it took me a minute to actually confront those head on because I knew it was going to be challenging to go to other people and say, I know I've been telling you this person is all that in a bag of chips, but actually they're a false prophet. That's a difficult thing to do, but even more so for yourself because you have to come to grips with the fact that you were deceived, that you were in the wrong. And I think that is really, really challenging. And so what I hope to do today is to encourage somebody who maybe has been caught in a very bad movement and they've seen some things, but they've just been suppressing it. They've just been pushing it down and pretending like it's not there. I want to encourage you, my friend, not to do that. If you are a true Christian, you will desire to live in light of the truth. That is what we should aspire to as Christians. And I have just a couple of verses here. Ephesians 5:11. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. When Chuck Pierce gives a false prophetic word, that is a work of darkness. The Bible makes it very, very clear how big of a problem false prophecy is. When you are a false prophet, it is a huge deal. So that is a work of darkness. We are supposed to expose them. We're not supposed to partake in it. We're not supposed to cover it up. If we have knowledge, we are to expose it. And I also think about 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the love chapter. Love is patient. Love is kind. Well, what does it say down in verse 6? Love does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. My friend, when you are confronted with evidence, sometimes you'll even have to look past the person's attitude. I know there are certain people on YouTube who maybe they call out certain false prophets and false teachers and they don't seem to have the best attitude. In fact, if I can confess, there have been times where I have not had the best attitude when doing so. But I encourage you to look past all of that and just get to the heart of the message. Is there really a problem with the person that you're listening to? So, and are you willing to go to the extremes that it appears may have taken place here, where people are just looking to get rid of the evidence rather than addressing it, rather than saying, hey, maybe there's a problem here and I should rethink my trust in this person. I'm just going to delete the video. I encourage you not to do that. And I want you to know, I sympathize. I understand how difficult it is to walk away from something that you are attached to. But I want you to know that there's nothing better than walking in the light and walking in the light of the truth. Friends, Chuck Pierce is a false prophet, and there are many people like him. There are many false teachers who are leading people astray. If you have been influenced by them, today is the day for you to turn away and to walk into the light. All right, guys, I hope today's content was helpful to you. If it was and you want to help get content like this out to more people on the internet, please go ahead and take a second now to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, God bless.